CCP's cyber propaganda army launched all-out attack to silence the criticizing voice, and this show is also impacted.
NBC reported a record low viewership on Beijing Winter Olympics.
The party claimed honor after Eileen Gu won the gold medal. Xi Jinping sent off big bonus to countries that came to kowtow to P.R.China.
Are all Chinese American athletes like Eileen Gu? See Nathan Chen and Vincent Zhou's story.
And former National Security Council advisor Stephen Yates, I have to apologize, okay, share his observation.
Blue states dropped the max mandate one after another. What happened?
Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
I'm Kathy Zhang.
Yeah, I have to apologize for my coughing a little bit. And actually, the first piece of news I want to bring to you is something that you may have experienced, which is yesterday.
The day before our show, it was surprising to some of our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were saying, I got some feedback saying, what happened to the comments section? And they saw some comments they really never seen before, but Wei and I are not really surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to explain that. So what happened?
So Wall Street Journal reported that China's propaganda army flooded the Twitter's genocide games to drown out Olympics criticism. And researchers believe that CCG, China's Communist government's social media propaganda army, has been flooding Twitter to manipulate the genocide games hashtag relating to the Winter Olympics. So pretty much they just flooded there. Okay?
Yeah, so what's the purpose, right? So this hashtag, Genocide Games, has been used by human rights advocates and Western lawmakers to raise awareness about this human rights abuse in Xinjiang province of China. So the Wall Street Journal reports that researchers believe that the pro-Chinese Communist government accounts are attempting to manipulate the genocide game hashtag on Twitter to confuse those who use the hashtag and make it harder for activists to effectively utilize it.
Yeah, two professors at Clemson University's Media Forensic Hub, Darren Linville and Patrick Warren. They know that in late October 2021, which is last year, pro-CCG, basically CCG, CCP, same thing, okay? Pro-CCP accounts began to post spam-like content under the hashtag. The tactic is known as hashtag flooding, okay? Its primary goal is to dilute the effectiveness of a popular hashtag, so that the Twitter users looking for the term see unrelated content mixed in with actual announcements and information. The researchers believe that this is an effort to make it harder for activists to mobilize around the hashtag. In the past, Twitter has done little to stop China's social media propaganda war. Well,
yeah, we shared with you before, right? Like, for example, it's foreign minister's account was like never censored. Mm-hmm. But in the meanwhile, domestically, we have our top, like the president's account being suspended, things like that. But now in this Winter Olympics, I think people are witnessing all different kinds of tactics that Chinese Communist government is using to censor people's censor people, but in the meanwhile, how they just manipulate and exploit the open and freedom of speech in the United States to work for its own purpose. So after our show the day before on Monday, I got some feedback from our viewers saying like, so surprised why there were so many comments they never seen before, and soon they realize, our viewers, are smart, realize that some of them are actually probably pro-CCP people, but I explained to them those are, most likely the CCP's internet police. Usually Chinese people call them 50 cents. police. Why is that? Because they used to get paid for 50 cents
For each
posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's probably $1 or something. They have to keep changing their name.
Right. But, we can see how the CCP's tactics, they just play in front of our eyes, right? Because, but on the other hand, one of our viewers just told me, it means you are doing the right thing, you are doing a good job. I think his comment is really accurate. And also, it shows that the reactions from the United States and the Western world against of this, they call it genocide game, is also correct. That's why the CCP just, used its internet police to flood the social media and the internet, including shows like the Wayne and Kathy show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we see, we probably have a good number of 50 cents people here. Hello. Shame on you.
Well, you are able to just exploit the freedom of speech and the open system in the United States, but really, it's a chance for you to learn something. We hope you can learn something, right?
Yeah.
Not just only trying to do the job that's paid by the CCP.
Yeah, so for those of our loyal viewers, please, say hi, say something, say something to them and ask them to learn something. Don't waste their chance of coming through the firewall to the free world. All right, the next piece of news has to do with NBC's rating of the Winter Olympics. So back then, a few weeks ago, NBC's Mike Tirico began last week, not a few weeks ago, Friday's Winter Olympics opening ceremony. And by saying just over 6 months ago in Tokyo, we said we were about to embark on an Olympics unlike any other. Now we're about to top that. All right. So in the case of the ratings, though, topping that has meant producing record lows. So far, the Sunday night, we don't have the data for Monday and the Tuesday. The Sunday night window actually ranks as the most watched of the Winter Olympics thus far. Sunday's primetime coverage of the Beijing Winter Olympics averaged a 6.0 rating and 11 million viewers on NBC alone, and 14 million across NBC's various platforms. You may ask, is that too much or too little? Okay, it is down 52% on rating, 51% on the viewers on NBC alone, and 47% across NBC's various platforms. Okay, so big drop. This is compared to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics 4 years ago. Okay, and the Friday's opening ceremony attracted 14 million viewers on NBC, which is 50% in viewership drop from 2018, when NBC only aired taped prime coverage. At that time, the viewers are 28 million, so precisely 50% off. So what's the reason? NBC put it this way. They think it's not surprised because the strained relationship between the United States and China due to economic and human rights issues, and another Olympics held during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the lack of buzz coming into the games has been significant factors. So I just want to ask you, do you watch the game? If you don't watch the game, then we know the why. And why if you don't watch the game, why so? So if you can share your point of view there in the comment section, we can have our little survey there. All right. Okay, another examples of how many TV rating has cratered is Oscars. This is for NBC, okay? The Oscar award show averaged 44 million viewers in 2014, dropped to 24 million 4 years later, and averaged to only 11 million last year. So basically, some have criticized NBC for broadcasting from Beijing. Okay, the whole city was not set in 2014 when NBC reached a 7.7 billion deal with the IOC, okay, International Olympic Committee, for the rebroadcasting right through 2032. So commentators said NBC probably lose heavily there. It's like a nightmare. Okay, Yahoo Sports columnist Dan Wetzel reported that all this has been a nightmare because they pay so much. They pay almost like $7.8 billion. all right, and to rebroadcast Olympics. So heavy loss has been incurred. So, and also NBC was also revealed that it refused to broadcast the Florida Republican Congressman Mike Waltz's advertisement, and the commercial criticized CCP for infringing on the human rights, violating the human rights. And the congressman tweeted last Saturday saying that they refused to run my commercial, Olympic commercial. In it, there's NBC Boston Celtics Center, okay, Anna's Cater Freedom. But we will not be muted by them. This is NBC and CCP who doesn't want you to see. This is what they don't want you to see. Then in that tweet, they have the video there. So also, okay, the Mike Tirico, NBC's host for Winter Olympics, leave Beijing ahead of time. Okay, and then the commentator said he probably was forced to because on the Monday night after the Monday night program. Because he was not supposed to return so early, but in his rebroadcasting, he criticized the Chinese government. So probably Beijing is not happy, so he has to leave early, but we never know what's the final result there. Okay, so that's the NBC rating.
Yeah, so...
Does that surprise you?
Let us know. Yeah,
let us know.
And actually, NBC really praised Eileen Gu when she was making the jumps and got the highest score and the first gold medal for PRC in the women's women's ski event at the Winter Olympics in Beijing, which is the PRC's second gold medal in the ski event in the history of the country. Mm-hmm. Right. So, we have been talking about her, and we just noticed, if you probably noticed in a lot of media, is talking about Eileen Gu as well. So she actually had a press conference after she won the first gold medal in, her career. The Olympic gold medal, right? So let's just hear a little bit of what she said in this press conference to understand a little bit more about her thinking. So let's play the first clip.
I definitely feel as though I am just as American as I am Chinese. I'm American when I'm in the US, and I'm Chinese when I'm in China. And I've been very outspoken about my gratitude to both the US and China for making me the person who I am. I don't feel as though I'm, taking advantage of one or the other, because both have actually been incredibly supportive of me and continue to be supportive of me.
All right. So she's probably, her citizenship actually really caught a lot of attention by the media. So she's probably responding to such kind of questions. So again, she just say, I'm American when I'm in the U.S. and I'm Chinese when I am in China. So, and then she just said she didn't feel like she's taken advantage over one another. But is that true in terms of Chinese Communist Party's viewpoint? We'll share with you just shortly to see, really she feels she's not taking advantage or she's not being used, but how the Chinese government think it's totally different thing. Let's play the second clip.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to keep anyone happy. I'm an 18-year-old girl out here living my best life. I'm having a great time. It doesn't really matter if other people are happy or not, because I feel as though I am doing my best. So yeah, if people don't believe me and if people don't like me, then that's their loss. They're never going to win the Olympics.
Yeah, so how do you feel when you listen to what she just said? I think, if it's in a really normal situation, say she's in United States or other free country, I don't think her speech, has anything can be picked on, right? Mm-hmm. She's a free person. She just do whatever she feels like and don't have to really care about other people. But if you think about the background of where this game is being hosted, it's in China. PRC, which is, has just really gruesome human rights record, which is already being largely criticized, right? She won't be, she cannot say she don't know about that, right? But she's saying, I don't care if others don't feel happy about it. Think about people in the Uyghur, in Xinjiang province, people who are underground churches, people who are just only wanted to practice the meditation to be healthy, the Falun Gong practitioners, they probably are not, those people probably are not happy with her, but, they are being persecuted. And she just seems doesn't care about it.
So let me just add my point of view here. Okay, so Eileen Gu to position herself really just as a young athlete. She said, it doesn't matter which country, which citizenship. Let me tell you the answer, okay? She has U.S. citizenship. By having a U.S. citizenship, she does not have Chinese citizenship. It's not allowed by the Chinese, PRC's law. So, which means essentially Chinese government hire basically, or get an American to win their gold medal, which is not a big problem, except that the Chinese government said, no, she has been naturalized. She's a Chinese. And Eileen Gu went along with that. She did not refute that. She did not clarify that. She just went along until she cannot. So people now is just right in front of her face and ask, which passport do you hold? And she's saying that it really doesn't matter. You know the answer. It's a U.S. passport. All right, so basically, the more honor she got, the more advantage the party will take of her. So that's the party's way, because party used Eileen Gu to prove that the CCP's regime is great, it's powerful, it's popular, it's basically
it's legitimate.
Yeah, it's legitimate. So in another word, he's basically just like, if we just roll the history back by 90 years, it's just like endorsing Hitler's Berlin Olympics. So history will see how wrong she is, and she's having a happy time, and without minding anything about lying or allow the lie around her to populate. But that's her problem, and yeah.
Yeah, I think lying is really one thing, and the other thing we'll share with you, how the Chinese Communist government is manipulating the situation. And indeed, some netizens in China just wrote some message saying, Gu will regret down the road when she grow up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll see. And then let's play the third clip. She actually was asked about Peng Shuai, the female tennis player. So she addressed that.
I'm really grateful that she's happy and healthy and out here and doing her thing again.
Okay, so she before that she just said, oh, she's so honored that Peng Shuai watched her playing, her game, and then she said grateful that Peng Shuai is happy and healthy out there doing her thing again.
First is she's not happy. She's most likely she's not happy. She's not healthy, and exactly she's not doing her thing. She has to quit tennis.
Well,
she should say happy and healthy and not doing her thing again.
Right, and but what Peng Shuai is doing her thing is like sitting there being a poster girl, so that the propaganda media can take the picture saying she's enjoying the game.
Yeah. So this young girl turned herself into a component in the giant propaganda machine of the Chinese Communist Party, and the history will remember her this way.
Yeah, but some people saying no, she's just really talented. Nobody's saying she's not talented, right? She got the gold medal. She probably really deserved that. But some people say no, she's just being a very great athlete, and the Chinese Communist government not utilizing her. And we have been constantly hearing that the Chinese Communist government saying, no politicizing the sports, no politicizing the Olympics. They even criticize the United States and the other countries who diplomatically boycotted, right? So, however, see what happened right after Eileen Gu got her gold medal. The State General Administration of Sports of the PRC immediately issued a congratulatory letter praising Gu for her outstanding performance and adding another gold medal to PRC's tally. And also, there are several paragraphs. It's in Chinese, but I will explain to you the red-lined phrases. It says, they're hoping that Gu and the other team members will strive for greater glory for the party and the people, and make greater contributions to the realization of the dream of a strong sporting nation.
Yeah.
That's the point of the letter.
Yeah, so the US and Canada and UK, you shall not politicizing Olympics except us. We have all the right, we have all the opportunity, we'll not miss any chance to politicize this, this Olympics to get the most out of it.
Okay, so some may say, okay, well, it's the general administration of the sports of the government. They are probably entitled, or it's normal for them to send such letter. But listen to that. Other ministries of the government also sent letters. The CCP's Beijing Municipal Committee and the municipal government also sent congratulatory messages, praising Gu for winning the honor for the country and saying that the achievement would inspire the people of Beijing to strive to write the Beijing chapter of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Okay, and neither of those congratulatory letters or messages mentioned the background of this 18-year-old athlete who was born and raised entirely in the United States and received her first-class ski training and entire training here in the United States.
And holding a U.S. passport. Folks, by Chinese law, no dual citizenship is allowed. Okay.
And she probably is privileged to have the dual citizenship, which most of the, all the Chinese people cannot enjoy.
Yeah, so that's the law, of course, right? That's called citizenship law. But in China, like in People's Congress, this is like our Congress here, over there, most of the, elite people who are celebrities, they got picked as the people's representatives. And most of them has foreign citizenship. By Chinese law, they shall not have Chinese citizenship. So it's a bunch of foreigners. It's holding meeting every February in Beijing, and they try to rule China. This has been a joke, but it's been a very truthful joke.
Right. So if you still don't believe that, she is really utilized by the party, let's continue to hear. She got an exclusive interview with CCP's Central Discipline Inspection Commission. And the CCP's Ministry of Transportation reported on her grandmother as well. So, wait, what is this Central Discipline Inspection Commission?
It's one of the three party apparatus, okay? It's completely the party institution, okay? It's nothing to do with the media. It's not a media. It's not a reporting agency. It's the top, okay, the top apparatus of the party that find the corruption and discipline them. And this
so what does that have to do with the
interviewed Eileen Gu?
Yeah.
And published a report.
And they interviewed her actually prior to the event on February 4th, and then right after she got the gold medal, they posted, and you just saw that the website, right, saying it's an exclusive interview.
So every agency, every apparatus take every opportunity to profitize on Eileen Gu's gold medal. This is China's way of no politicizing Olympics with boycotting, but we got to do that.
Yeah, and why the Ministry of Transportation also published interviews, the story, because her maternal grandmother was an engineer and it was said that a higher up engineer at the ministry. Mm-hmm. So her family background in China really, is raised some more questions. So, but really, Eileen Gu, I think a lot of people, I think actually she, should be sympathized because there are probably a lot of pressure really on her, right?
But I don't quite feel so, as you see her how she showed up at that press conference.
Well,
In the Soviet Union, right? Back then, you remember a term called useful fool. Useful fool. So who taking in communist propaganda, and they are also influential. They use that influence to extend the propaganda, the message of the Communist Party, and those are the useful fool. And for people who really believe in that, the propaganda's lie, they are the most dangerous, actually, to the party. Mm-hmm. Because one day when they wake up, they become the most dangerous because they could betray the party. So when they finish their usefulness, the party would eliminate them. Okay, we got way too familiar with this. And Eileen Gu is just, I guess, a candidate for that useful fool.
Why I think she probably also under tremendous pressure, because just look at the Beverly Zhou, right? The girl who's not so fortunate, who's also born and raised in the United States. We shared with you her story, but she went back with her father, who's a member of 1,000 Talent Plan. So when Beverly Zhou failed on the skating track, she was just, she was blamed by all those netizens in China. Devastated. So Eileen Gu, she was lucky. She, lost her one ski at one of the competition, but finally she made it. But the winning the medal is just so important for the Chinese Communist government. So one day, if Eileen Gu, just had the same performance as Beverly Zhou, what do you think her treatment would be, right?
Yeah.
So because for Chinese Communist government, the medal counts as a sign of a national strength. It really is the glory for the party. So if you taint the glory of the party, what's going to be your punishment? So early on, actually yesterday, I had an interview with Steve Yates, who's the senior fellow and the China Policy Initiative chair for the America First Policy Institute in Washington, D.C. And he actually had a very interesting viewpoint on this regards to race, the Chinese Communist government's racist strategy. So I want to share with you that. But before that, I wanted to just further introduce Steve Yates a little bit so that you know this guest. Steve Yates is from Florida, and he is now serving the senior fellow and the chair of the China Policy Initiative at the America First Policy Institute. But he actually is a veteran, veteran commentator and a very experienced China policy expert. He used to be, actually he served as president of Radio Free Asia before, and a professor in the practice of international business and the policies at the Boise State University. He actually also served as the White House Deputy Assistant previously, and also the chairman of the Idaho Republican Party. So here I just asked Steve about how he views the issue of the Eileen Gu and the Beverly Zhou, those American-born and raised athletes being recruited to represent PRC.
And Steve Yates speaks Chinese, right?
He speaks Chinese very fluent, but obviously this interview is conducted in English.
Yeah, China expert.
Well, it's really interesting. I can't think of similar events that happened in the past. Perhaps they have, and I'm just not thinking of them. But to me, it really highlights one of the sensitive issues, but very important issues that we are, in fact, going to address head on in our China Policy Initiative. And it's the racialist and racist approach that the Communist Party takes in trying to shape public debate, but also to manipulate people. Right now, you have the government of China run by the Communist Party and using United Front operations around the world where they engage people of what they would call Chinese ethnicity, but they put pressure on them or give them inducements to make their loyalty first to a race. and that race is subordinate to the Communist Party's government. And they put that loyalty, supposedly, ahead of God or their faith and ahead of the country in which they might have citizenship. One of the things that's inherently different about the American experiment from Communist Party-run China is that in America we have a government and a society organized around some principles and ideas. We may be imperfect in what we do, and we may be imperfect in some of our outcomes, but we do very, very well for the most part, far better than China does on most things these days, I would say. But what we don't do is say that if you're of a certain ethnicity, that you owe your allegiance to a political party in the United States or the government of the United States because of somehow your ethnicity, if you live in another country. And so this is something that is very, very unusual that we're seeing. Now, these athletes could have done it just because of an opportunity. Maybe they didn't qualify in the United States. They wanted to be able to go to the games. They saw this as another avenue. But make no mistake, this is the government of China playing race games with sports. Now, I have a colleague at the America First Policy Institute who's going to be featured at an event we have on Thursday. He is Jack Brewer. He's a former NFL great. He has been to China a dozen times, has experience coming and going with experiences of how, as a black person, he was treated differently in China than some of his white colleagues were. But there also is this sensitivity about how big brands and big public figures in the United States criticize the United States on race issues, but then turn a blind eye to the CCP using race in a way that marginalizes to the point of genocide the treatment of Uyghur Muslims, tries to use loyalty to a motherland and a race as a justification to crush political freedom in Hong Kong or impose its will on Taiwan. But it goes even more than that. They engage in combat in Canada and Australia and the UK and other places over political issues that really are more about race in the words they use, but what they're doing is engaging in militant politics. And so I think it's important that we recognize this and highlight this and help people defend against it.
You pointed out the Chinese Communist government is really using the race issue. And on the other hand, they actually exploit the social divide in the United States because of the race issue.
That's right. They know what the hot buttons are. And I don't blame them for trying to use these strategies. I blame our side for not seeing through them and pushing back effectively. I expect more of our leaders, whether they're leaders in culture and entertainment or leaders in business and finance or leaders in government and politics. When we had representatives of the People's Republic of China engage our Secretary of State and National Security Advisor in Anchorage, Alaska last year, early in the Biden administration, they came equipped with criticisms that were straight from the Black Lives Matter protests and Antifa protests, trying to denigrate the United States and the American experience as a way of deflecting away from systemic racism and systemic human rights abuses inside China. And so they're playing hardball on using race as a sword and a shield, and our leaders were very flat-footed in response. Now, there could be a lot of personal and political reasons for that, but the net result was it was bad for the United States.
Yeah, so how do you think, Americans, including those political leaders, should see through this and deal with that?
Well, one thing that whether it's through our China Policy Initiative at AFPI or generally among like-minded friends and collaborators, we have to help our popular culture understand that the People's Republic of China is not equal to China. That the People's Republic of China came into power by way of a revolution based on a failed European ideology, by the way, and it represents essentially 100 years out of thousands of years of history. And so they have no right to claim consistency with or an inheritance of the culture and accomplishments that came before them, because they literally engaged in a revolution against all of that and broke with the past. The second, I think it's very important for people to see through this use of race as a shield, because the People's Republic of China is a government. It's not an ethnicity. The Communist Party of China is a political party that has hijacked a country and a government, but it is not an ethnicity. And criticizing the actions of the Communist Party of China, or even the government of China, has nothing to do with race or ethnicity. It has to do with the offensive behavior or failures of that government and that party. In some cases, as with the outbreak of COVID-19, literally killed millions of people and disrupted ordinary life for the most of the world and took trillions of dollars out of the global economy. We have every right and a responsibility to criticize the Communist Party for its responsibility in that, and that has nothing to do with race or ethnicity. And so it's very, very important that we find a way to break through and connect with people in our popular culture so they understand that we can't allow genocide to go forward. We can't allow a bioweapon equivalent to go out into the world and just let someone say, you have to accept it and deal with the consequences, because if you object, well, then you're racist. That is a very crass form of manipulation that has to be called out and broken through.
All right, so that's Steve Yates, chair of China Policy Initiative at the America First.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Policy
Policy Institute. Yeah, how do you think?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Clearly said and well said. I think Stephen Yates tried to get our popular culture to understand that.
Yeah, it's very important.
And people like him that are the messenger. So when they talk, I think, and when they speak, I think we should really pay close attention, because that's something that we're not so familiar with. CCP, they have no value, they have no principle, whatever, just convenient for the party's use, they will do it. So by themselves, they are the biggest racist in this world. But they can come to this country and pick apart the racial problem and criticize this country, and they dare to do that. Okay, that's just their way. They have no shame and they have no value. They're very, very flexible. Explore the vulnerability in the enemy in their eyes. All right.
Yeah. So we been talking about people like Eileen Gu, Beverly, Zhou. But actually, there are different Chinese American athletes. So we also wanted to share with you a couple of them. One of them is, they are all in the Team USA today, right? So one of them is Nathan Chen. Nathan Chen, he's a figure skater. He's a three-time world champion and 2018 Olympic bronze medalist in the team event. And he won a lot of, championship. He's also a six-time U.S. national champion. So Nathan Chen, on Tuesday, February 8th, broke world record in the short curves. And he just performed so wonderfully. And his coach said that the moment brought tears to his eyes. And Nathan Chen, known as the king of the 4-week jump and the winner of the 2018, 19, and 21 World Championship. He was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the youngest child in his family with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And not only he accomplished on the ice, he also been enrolled in a full-time student at Yale University as a statistics major since the fall of 2018. So, and another one, Vincent Zhou, actually, that we in the interview of General David Stilwell the day before, he mentioned his name, if you remember. He's also a figure skater, Team USA, was born here in San Jose, California. And his hometown is Palo Alto, but his parents, both of Vincent and Nathan's parents from mainland China. So Vincent is a 2020 Olympic Games team event silver medalist, in the 2019 World Bronze medalist, 2019 Four Continents bronze medalist, and so on and so forth. Got a lot of medals. He's a three-time U.S. national silver medalist. And at this Winter Olympics in Beijing, he ranked third in the men's free skate segment and added 18 points. He was en route to a silver medal finish for the American, for our fellow Americans. However, he recently received 2 positive tests for the COVID-19 afterwards and announced that he, just had to withdraw. And Zhou called the turn of event pretty unreal. As General Stilwell just suspect, he just was questioning who did the test, things like that.
Yeah. Is it truthful?
Yeah.
Is it well-deserved, the test?
And one thing I wanted to mention to you, both Nathan Chen and Vincent Zhou, in an interview I believe back in 2019, they echoed another teammate's comment on criticizing the Chinese Communist government's human rights record. So, at least just from these information, we can see they are probably very different from Eileen Gu and Beverly Zhou.
So in the eyes of the party, they are bad boys. And whether that COVID-19 test, if you read about his story, okay, the Victor Zhou, Vincent Zhou, he took so much care not to get affected, okay, double, triple, precaution, and he got it. And New York Times also questioned it. So who did the test, how truthful it is, things like that. And General Stilwell also said that. So how you can trust this the regime when Winter Olympics is held there?
Yeah, because people who, just so care about the Team USA or whichever country's athletes, some people just feel it's not fair if, United States just totally boycott the game. But are our athletes getting fair treatment under such a regime? Mm-hmm. So I think after this event, more people probably would question that.
Yeah, and also on top of politicizing the Eileen Gu's gold medal, and Xi Jinping also did his share. For example, Putin went to Beijing for just one day, and as you can see that he dozed off during the opening ceremony, but he brought away with more than 10 economic deals. One example is in 80 years, okay, China will pay $80 billion for 10,000 tons of oil, Russian oil. So which will translate to $109 per barrel. As you understand, right? Oil price is all-time high. How high? $89. This is 109. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's just a gift. And Putin came to Beijing. Xi Jinping write him a fat check, a really fat check, and to send him off. In the meantime, the ambassador to China from Argentina, and in front of Xi Jinping even said, 没有共产党就没有新中国. With no communist party, there's no new China. Xi Jinping was so happy. Okay, anyway, the most recent news is Argentina joined China's One Belt, One Road initiative, and the CCP is going to invest $25 billion into Argentina on that. So Xi Jinping took the advantage of the Winter Olympics, did his diplomatic negotiation or action, okay, in a short time, and build his friendship. That's how he see the use of the Winter Olympics. All right, so that's that. So the last piece of news has to do with the domestic issues, right, Kathy?
Right. So as you may already heard, one after another, the blue states are moving to drop mask mandates. So the governors in New York, Illinois, and Rhode Island today joined some other Democrat governors, such as New Jersey, Delaware, California, Oregon, and other states. They all recently announced an end date for mask requirements and some other restrictions. So New York governor just said today the state will drop its indoor mask mandate and the requirement that business need to ask customers for proof of vaccination starting tomorrow, actually. She's really decisive. And the Illinois government said today that he hoped to lift the mask mandate for indoor by end of this month. Rhode Island governor announced that also today that the statewide mask mandate and vaccine-proof policy for business and venues would end on February 11th, just a couple of days later. And he plans to lift the statewide school indoor mask requirements on March 4th. Massachusetts said that also today it will lift its school mask mandate on February 28th. New Jersey governor announced earlier this week that the New Jersey state will unwind the school mask mandate. Delaware governor announced Monday that lift its mask mandate for indoor on February 11th. And for the K-12 schools and child care facilities, the mandate will end on March 31st. Connecticut announced that also at the end of this month. California governor announced that the mandate will be drop off for vaccinated people, okay? And today, Governor Newsom said that he will soon announce a plan that will include updated guidance for requiring masks in school. He actually was criticized again for not wearing a mask in a photo taken with the basketball legend Magic Johnson at the NFC championship game last Sunday in Los Angeles. So yeah, again, he was, in trouble. And the other two people are the mayor of San Francisco and the mayor of Los Angeles. No mask when they, on the picture. So, and why is that? People are asking. So today, the CNN interviewed its medical expert, and she was saying something that actually just this person is Dr. Liana Wen. She's a former Planned Parenthood president. She just her comments incited a mockery on social media after she claimed. So let's hear what she said.
I do. There was and is a time and place for pandemic restrictions, but when they were put in, it was always with the understanding that they would be removed as soon as we can. And in this case, circumstances have changed. Case counts are declining. Also, the science has changed.
So her comments about the science has changed really raised a lot of questions and ridicules on the social media. So how she explained the science changed? She said, we know that the vaccine protects very well against the Omicron. And then people over 5-year-old have wide access to vaccine. And she said that the one-way masking, even if other people around you not wearing mask, but if you wear a high-quality mask, it will also protect you. Basically, that's how she explained how science has changed. So on Twitter, a lot of people just responded to that. And for example, the psychology professor Geoffrey Miller said the polling number has changed. The political landscape have changed. That's why you are promoting a different propaganda message now. That's all. If the science itself has changed, we would see new peer-reviewed studies that indicate the change. Author Glenn Greenwald said, as others noted, there's nothing in the science that changed to justify damn politician suddenly ending mask mandate. All that change is the political fear that they have, conflating the science with the politics like this is a key reason many lost trust in the public health experts, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people just say this science did not change. It's a poll changed. The policy, the democratic policy changed. So yeah, you won't read more, but you can find that on Twitter. So how do you think?
Okay, yeah. So that'll be all for tonight. And yeah, leave your comment with us, and we'll try to read a few. And yeah. So a lot of things has been happening.
Yeah, Dr. Watson just said it's absolutely about the coming election. So I think that's a lot of people are speculating, right? Because after all, people's reaction matters. So I think, in a way, it's a good thing. So that's why people should voice out, and media should report facts, so that the representatives, they need to see how people react to their policies and the rhetorics.
Yeah. So as we report this, our show has been demonetized. SSC.
Okay.
I don't know what we said to cause that, but
yeah. What did we just say? We talked about a mandate, but it's about how they are dropping off the mask mandate. What's wrong with that?
Okay. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here, and really appreciate it. If you can, in Chinese it's called tipping, right? You can donate to us, support us.
Yeah,
really
in
appreciate
any
it.
way you can, just click like if you have not yet, and share our video, or even donate. Here, I would really wanted to thank a few people. They actually are of our audience, friends. They have been continuously donating to our channel.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money, but continuously, since we started.
Appreciate it.
About over a year ago. Every month we will see a summary of that. I really have not had a chance to thank these people continuously, but wanted to take this opportunity. Really thank you for your continued support. This really gave us money. It is no matter big or small, it's not a matter. It's really, we can see you appreciate what we do. That's encouragement to us.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
Until Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.